Hey, how's it going YouTube? This is Team Nightmare here. James Rodriguez, and I'm going to be showing you a deck profile for Harpies from the Arizona Regionals. I got 6th place yesterday, and here's the map that I got right here. Pretty cool map. Probably not going to use it just because I like my Harpie map a lot better. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do a deck profile for you guys. You guys came just for the deck list. You can look down in the description below. I posted that for you guys. For those that do want to watch this video, I'm basically going to be describing my card choices, why I chose them, and some of the cool combos and plays I did this weekend. A separate video, I'm going to actually do a tournament report also to kind of keep this video short. And that might be like a 10-15 minute video to talk about each round and matchup that I played, and just some of the combos that I used to around my opponents and such. So for the whole weekend, I went X1-1. Got my first loss in round 6 against Salt Mode, and then I got a draw for the very last round. But I'll talk about it in a separate video if you really want to watch it. But go ahead and get started. Alright, so for monsters, I ran 2 Maxx. I knew there was going to be a lot of Dragon Rollers this weekend, so this is a very good answer to Dragons. Although most people won't take the Maxx challenge, this does stop my opponent a lot of times. Allows me to do at least 1-for-1 with it. I think this whole weekend only one person took the Maxx challenge, and he lost. He could finish me off, so. 1 Zephyros and 1 Tempest. Zephyros gives me a lot of options to OTK as well as recycle cards, such as Hysteric Party and the Fill Spell and Hysteric Sign. Against the Dragon matchup, a lot of times you want to preserve your Fill Spell for after they activate the Ravine. So one thing I did a lot this weekend was bounce my own Fill Spell to keep it in my hand, so when they did activate Ravine next turn I can make sure I got rid of it, plus pop whatever they said. And Tempest, I only run 1 of, primarily because I run the Velvel Chain, and you can pitch it to the grave really easily. Again, allows you to do OTK combos, which is pretty easy to do with the Hysteric Party, so I'll get to a little bit later. Also ran 2 Harpies Pet Dragon. My very first build, I wasn't running Pet Dragon at all. I didn't like it, just because for some reason I always open Pet Dragon. But because of Queen Dragon Djinn, which I'll talk about a little bit later in my extra deck, I felt that Pet Dragon was a little bit more useful. I opted to run 2 in case you did open 1, you still have 1 in deck to make a Draco Sack play. For the Harpie engine, run 3 Channeler, which is kind of a must. For those that are wondering, this card is signed by Erica Schroeder, which is a voice actor for I had that done at Worlds, which is pretty cool. I had a bunch of 7 people get in line with me and help me finish the deck. Some of them I don't actually have signed in this deck just because I wanted some of the higher rarities, so they're saved away in the binder. But so, Channeler effect, for those that don't know, you can discard any Harpie card, which includes the Fill Spell, to special summon 1 Harpie monster from your deck, including Pet Dragon, which allows you to do really cool rank 7 and rank 8 plays, because when you control Dragon, Channeler also becomes level 7, which is another reason why I run Tempest, because it gives you other options to get around your opponent. I run 3 Queen, which is equivalent to Gravekeeper's Command It. You pitch it to add the Fill Spell to your hand. It's a 19k beat stick, 1900 beat stick, which is really awesome. And not much to say about Queen. 3 Lady 1. I run this over Cyber Harpie Lady just because it boosts all my monsters. Again, the extra bit of damage can really determine the game. And this whole weekend, that theory has been proven. It boosts Chidori, it boosts Tempest, and it boosts Draco Sack. It's just another way to OTK. I wouldn't change anything with Lady 1. And lastly, 1 Dancer. The reason why I only run 1 Dancer, from test playing for the past 3 weeks or so, I proxied this earlier to play with it, but I was running 2. But a lot of times I was opening Dancer, and Dancer itself isn't good unless you have it with a Channeler and another Harpie name. You want to be able to pop their back row and bait out their back row with it while still being able to set up plays. So I might bump it up to 2 later. I really don't know. I need to test with it a little bit more, but it did me fine this weekend. Usually you search it out with Hysteric Sign, which I'll get to my spells, but basically your main combo to search out for would be Harpie Dancer, Channeler, and one of the field spells. So push that away. For spells, we have 3 Harpie's Hunting Ground. I was running 2 originally. I decided opted to run 3 now because there's so many decks that run field spells, such as the Dolces and Dragons. It's really important to preserve your field spell to secure the game. Against a lot of rogue decks, Harpies have a really great matchup. It's almost a given win for me, just because I can neg them and control the game for the whole time, as long as I got my Hunting Ground to go with it. So it's my engine. It also gives a little 200 boost for each Winged Beast, which, again, just like the Lady one, it's another way to push the extra damage in, for especially putting them in cowboy range. Easily way to finish people off. Also run 3 Hysteric Signs, one of the best cards in the deck in my opinion. Getting this card off really early in the match is really important to secure your game. What this card does, if you activate it while face up, you can add 1 Elegant Egotist from your deck or graveyard to your hand, which is the reason why I only run 1 Egotist. I had run this at 2 at San Mateo, but I was getting dead draws with this without some of the Harpie monsters. My Harpie count's a little small. Sign's other effect is if it's discarded or sent from the if it's sent from the field or grave, from the field or hand to the grave, you can add 3 different Harpie cards from your deck to your hand, which is a combo I showed earlier to Channeler, Dancer, in the field spell. That pretty much sets you up for a Draco Sack or a Chidori play or whatever, basically whatever rank 4 or 7 you need in that current situation. And you have the field spell to push through whatever resources they have. So generally, you use your Dancer to bait out the back row. So if you're going to pop something, they would normally be hitting the Channeler with or hitting the Dancer. So now you still have your Channeler in reserve if this play fails. So they're forced to chain their effects. We have 2 Mystical Space Typhoons. This may seem unnecessary because of the field spell. However, I felt it was necessary because people are going to be many Vanities. And that's just something I didn't want to deal with. Also, I can push for OTKs. This secures the end phase and mid-seed. Make sure that happens. And last spells, we have 2 pots of duality. This deck is really combo based. I feel that you need to draw onto your combo pieces. This deck can play defensively, which I kind of like also. You can set a monster, set Icarus, and then go off next turn because you have a party set. So duality just allows you to see more cards, get to your sign triggers a lot quicker, get to your elf a lot quicker as well. For traps, are one Torrential, 1 Mirror Force, 1 Bottomless, 1 Compulse. So the only thing I would change here would probably be the Bottomless and Mirror Force. They didn't do very much for me this weekend. Compulse I really liked, especially people are going into Stardust. This card is just so good. Torrential also punishes players really early. Stop their combos while they're doing them. They're trying to do synchro plays. You can stop them right before they're able to do that. This couldn't easily actually got me down to 40, so that's one thing I did. I ran 42 cards this weekend, which might seem a little weird, but because I decked them so much, I didn't feel it would be that much of a problem, which it turned out it really wasn't. There was hands I would draw multiple monsters in, but that might just be my rarity, so. 2 Vanity's Emptiness. Kind of standard this meta. I believe it's pretty much a trend, everyone kind of meaning them. They really stop the dragon matchup if used correctly. A lot of people don't realize you don't just activate it really early in the game, you want to save this as the trump card. Once they've utilized all their resources, once they've drawn into all their spells and traps, and once they're all gone, and they're just relying on their monster engine, this card becomes really important, because now they're not going to be able to answer this. So, that's just how I play Vanities. 2 Icarus Attacks. I wasn't running this before I used to be setting them. I decided to main them. It's a really good way to secure my OTKs, and it's also another way to pop your Hysteric Sign to trigger that. So usually it'll be something like end phase, pop sign, pop their monster or back row or field spell, whatever you need to do. It is another way to keep your field spell on play as well. So 2 Phoenix Wing Windblast. I used to run a Geki Break. I decided to change to this just because a lot of Dragon players are going into Stardust again, which is really annoying to deal with. So this is one out to that. If used correctly, this can really set your opponent behind. I like to do this on dragon players when they activate Ravine right after they pay for cost. So you'll stack the Ravine, now they're set behind a turn, and if they still happen to decide to summon, now they lost the Ravine because it's been shuffled back in the deck. Most dragon players will use their draw cards before they do anything else. So the chances are they aren't going to be able to draw the Ravine after the Ravine blast is hit. So you can also shut them off from an element. I think Billy Brake had an article about that, which is basically a similar thing to do. You just, once they summon one of their elements and they're getting ready to search, you put that one to the top of their deck, and now that one's lost from them. So, two magical hats. One of my favorite cards in the game right now. I'm probably one of the main reasons that Konami has been enforcing the extra deck policy, to be honest, because you can use it with Exceed. So I'm sorry for that, but what this card does, for those who don't know, since it is an older card, you select 2 non-monster cards from your deck, and when one monster you control, shuffle them and set them face down. And you can actually, what I usually grab is 1 magical hat and 1 Hysteric Sign. Hysteric Sign will actually trigger off this, even if it's destroyed by battle or if it's destroyed by magical hat's effect, which is another way to peel it off from the deck really early in the game and get an early advantage. So this one card is the -5 from your deck, so you deck them by 5, and on top of that, you're getting a 3-card setup for next turn. So you're going to have a Draco Sack play or a Shidori play. And if anything, it's also a defensive card. I think I only resolved this twice this weekend is because most of the times when I drew it, I did first turn Draco and I was already securing the game from there. So it's still a fun card. Some people were expecting it just because a lot of my local players I played against and they knew that I was running this card, so they were trying to play around it. But most players, it comes to them by surprise. Lastly, 3 Hysteric Party. This is my OTK return button GG card right here. You special summon this card, 1 card, which includes Hysteric Sign, which you usually want to use this for, or Zephyros or Tempest. Special summon as many Harpie Ladies from your graveyard as possible. Usually if you draw this card and you have at least 2 Harpies, you're going to be able to OTK really early in the game. So you go through the back row, make sure you have no answers, and then you push for game with this card. I wouldn't drop this down any at all. I love this card a lot. I want to see it really early in the game as much as possible. So, on to the extra deck. I run 2 Lightning Chidoris. This is very similar to Phoenix Wing Blast. When it's summoned, select 1 set card your opponent controls. Generally, I select a set monster if they have one, just because if they had an answer to Chidori, I'm negating them 2 now in that exchange. Because the monster is going to be gone, and the back row that they use is also going to be gone. So it's really a 1 for 2 for them. So they get -1 on the exchange. And if he does survive, you detach 1 material to select 1 face-up card they control and put it to the top of the deck. Similar to Phoenix Wing Blast, I usually like to stack Dragon players' Ravines. It's really annoying to them. They have to really try to play around it, and they have 1 less resource to discard. So when used correctly, you can really set your opponent behind, and basically you can secure your game. There's certain Dragon players where I would stack like a tuner, for example, and now they have no new draws, so they're still relying on the same engine they had. So it's really good. 2 Ice Beast Seraphane. This card is pretty OP as well. What it does, you detach 1 material, negate all face-up cards your opponent controls, which is a really good way to turn off any side deck cards against you. So if they decide to remain side and decrees, they have Draco Sacker, whatever on board, you can negate those effects on their turn. So when the turn comes around, they have basically useless cards, and their side deck is useless against you. On top of that, this card gains 300 attack for each face-up card on the field, including your field, but not including itself. I think this weekend I had it up to almost 4,000 at one point. I was with the field spell on board, but still, that's a pretty nasty card to have on board. I run 1 Queen Dragon to Gen. Like I said earlier, it's the reason why I decided to run Pet Dragon again. Allows you to detach 1 material to select 1 dragon in your grave and special summon in defense mode. A level 5 or higher dragon, I should specify. Which gives you some really cool combos. So if you open up Channeler, 1 Harpie card, and Elegant Egotist, you have basically Queen Dragon Draco Sack. What you do is you go, let me get the cards out real quick. You have Channeler effect, discard whatever Harpie card you had, summon, then you activate your Elegant Egotist to summon any other Harpie, your Lady 1. And then from here, go into Queen Dragon, detach material, and assuming you have a dragon engraved, you summon Tempest or Pet Dragon, and then you have Draco Attack right there. So that's a really good combo. I did that twice this weekend, I think. It doesn't happen very, very often. Usually I have better plays than that, but it's the way to really put pressure on your opponent. Next up, Lava Chain. This card has given me so many OTK potential. You usually pitch your Tempest and Zephyros really early. Occasionally, you can stack your Harpie Channeler. I did that twice just because I really needed a combo to go off, and I had no targets engraved for Zephyros or Tempest to be really relevant at the time. So this is one of the better. If you can't go Draco Attack, this is another good turn opening, just to set up for the future. Ran one Abyss Dweller, which I'm really happy I did. I did play Mermills, round 8 I believe. It's just kind of there, it's kind of needed in case you play the Dark World or the Mermill matchup. You can go in this really easily. He maxed me, I didn't care because I knew if I went into this, I was going to lock him out of the game. So, one Gemini Pearl, really good answer if you need to get over something. Beats Veiler and Fiendish Chain, which is kind of important sometimes. So, I didn't go into him at all this weekend. He wasn't relevant at the time, but there are situations like Evil Storm where he's actually really good. One Photon, top your operative. Just a way to kill off your opponent sometimes. Actually, with Draco Attack tokens is really good. I actually won one match against Dragons. I switched his token to attack mode because I only at 2100, so I finished him off with top your operative. One Harpie's Pet Phantasmal Dragon. Pretty good card. You require 3 wins, which is pretty easy to do with a Hysteric Party and Elegant Egotist, to be honest. So I usually bring this out against Dragons, especially after you use Dark Hole and a lot of their Mass Destruction cards, and more so if they're not playing with Endurance of Breeze, because any Mass Destruction or Mass Negation beats them. But what Phantasmal Dragon does is it attacks directly, and your opponent cannot select any Harpie card monsters you control for attacks or card effects. So they are kind of screwed at that point. They have almost 6k free damage unless they have the Mirror Force, Torrential, or something that answer it. So this card requires a little bit of skill to know when to bring, but it's a pretty good card overall. One Maestro, pretty standard, beats Ophion and can stall when need be. One Cowboy, again pretty standard. With all the attack boosting, you can get in the Cowboy range really easily, and your opponents just don't expect it. Sometimes, oddly enough, I believe I won like 3 or 4 of my games from finishing off with Cowboy. So, one Master Blade. Actually, I'm gonna cut this probably for another Draco Attack. I did not like it at all this weekend. I actually didn't go into it at all. So yeah, that's just there for now. And then Big Eye, Draco Attack, pretty standard plays. Usually I go Draco over Big Eye unless I can OTK with a Big Eye play. So, trying to speed this along. So side deck. 2 Imperial Iron Walls, beats Dragons, other random decks that utilize Vanishing, but mostly just there for Dragons. 1 Soul Drain for Mermills, Dark Worlds, and Dragons as well. 2 Overworked, kind of underrated right now actually. I really like this card. It hits a lot of decks and people don't realize. Fire Fist that destroys them, Brusions that hurts them as well with the 10 keys on board. It hits Blackwing because my field spell. I actually like side picking from 2. It's another way to get rid of their full boards. Also, Sirocco pumps are a thing. So, oh yeah, I'm a Dolce. 2 Chain Disappearance. I only said this in once this weekend. I had it in here regionally for the Dragoonity variants, but I didn't play any of the Dragoonity dragons actually. So, the only deck I sided in against was Erratic Dragons, which actually won me one of the games against them. So. 2 Rivalry of the Warlords, mostly there for rogue decks. Usually Constellars and Evil Storms are what I sided in against. There wasn't anything else that's relevant this weekend that I actually sided it for. Go to the match, same reason, just rogue decks that you can use it in. I didn't side it in against Dragons, I don't like it against Dragons. Actually, I didn't side it in all this weekend, so that might be something I change in the future. Curse Seal, I have this in here for Prophecy primarily. You have to pitch a spell card, which is cool, so you can trigger your sign. I didn't, like I said, I didn't see them, so I just don't. I don't think I would cut it though, just in case I ever see them. It's good at any point in the game. You can lock them out of one of their spells. So, and lastly, 2DD Crows, Salt Mode deck in San Mateo that was topping. I knew one other player was going to be playing it, and I wanted to be prepared for it, so I had the DD Crows to answer Assault Mode. I actually did end up playing him, but he got Assault Mode out really early in the game. I just could not answer it. Deck's really consistent. It's kind of scary, but it's whatever. Also, he's in there for the Dragoonity variants too with the Phoenix. I believe that's everything. So, thank you guys for watching. I'll have another video up with my tournament report. Talk about some of the plays, show some of the plays I did that weekend. If you have any questions, please comment, rate, subscribe. You know, probably make another video, follow-up video, answering everyone's questions. So yeah, thank you for watching.